Just wanted to talk, that's all.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. We have a fresh rumor. We got a blurry version of Frankie on the screen. It's just the internet acting up, but hopefully it'll come back into frame here. So welcome back, everybody. Fresh rumor, courtesy of Carlos Baerga, former Met, former Major League Baseball player, and Hector Gomez, that the New York Mets have made their initial offer to Juan Soto, and it is for $660 million. That is a lot of dinero, Frankie. Joining me to talk about all that and more, and now finally back into focus, is my partner in crime, my former highlight guy, Mr. Frankie Baseball.
Hello, Derek. Good to be with you tonight.
How's it going, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I needed something to distract me today from watching the pitiful Jets continue their awful season. And although it was a good day for Giants fans because they didn't play.
Yeah, Giants, pretty bad. Pretty bad.
Pretty awful.
Pretty awful. And Jets haven't looked much better. But let's save that for the New York Football Show. We got to talk about this Juan Soto situation. Now, you have to take this news with a grain of salt because Carlos Baerga, I mean, he's not Ken Rosenthal. He's not Jeff Passan. Hector Gomez also, hit or miss sometimes. But these guys might be in the know. They definitely have some connections in the major leagues. And we know that Scott Boras is looking for something in the $700 million range. So if you figure the first offer is $660 million, it's going to clearly get over $700, maybe $750. But this is the most recent information we have. The Yankees are supposed to meet with him tomorrow. There's a lot of people just fed up with it already because we're halfway through November and it's just been no news, just nonstop rumors, nonstop speculation. So I'm going to ask you the same thing that I've asked everyone who's been on this show over the last couple of weeks, and that is, how are you feeling about this entire situation?
I'm okay. Weirdly, I'm at peace with the whole thing. I'm not. I already have it in my head, and maybe it's just me being the most nihilistic Yankee fan you'll find. I've already feel like he's not coming back. I think if this first offer is true, if this first report is true, and we can't confirm that yet, but if it's true that Carlos Baerga is right, then $660 right off the bat. Yeah, there's no way the Yankees. If that's the first offer, I'm scared to know what comes after that. So I would have to guess that the Yankees are not going to outbid him or outbid the Mets. Stevie wants Soto there. He's made it clear. The only thing that I wonder is Soto, does Soto want to go to the highest bidder, or is there a possibility that he wants to stay with the Yankees because he likes it here? And that's what I'm assuming that Hal and Cash and everybody's going to try to play off of. Hey, you like it here. The fans love you. You hit that great home run for us to send us to the World Series. So hopefully they'll be able to use that to him. But I'm also thinking, last year at this time, if we had heard Soto to the Mets or the Yankees, we'd be like, oh, of course, stay with the Yankees, even forget the money. You're closer to win a World Series with the Yankees than with the Mets. But now, after this incredible postseason run the Mets had, that's not a certain anymore, especially if we lose Soto. So it's right now, I'm okay with whatever happens. I'm nervous slightly, but I do think he's going to go to the Mets. I hope that Hal and whoever else is involved in Cash can figure out something here to keep him. But I'm already prepared for him leaving.
We'll talk about the backup plan in just a minute, the plan Bs, because there's a lot of free agents and trade targets to choose from. But it's weird. Some days I feel pessimistic. Some days I feel optimistic. Today I'm feeling pessimistic. I just don't know that the Yankees can outbid the Mets, right? Usually the Yankees can outbid another team if they want to. But Cohen is so much richer than everyone else. And honestly, the Dodgers can outbid the Yankees too, and so can the Blue Jays. I still don't think that Soto wants to go to Canada. I don't think he wants to play on the West Coast either. I think he wants to play in New York. But if the Mets are offering $100 million more, or, he can be the franchise player there, let's face it, he's always going to be second fiddle to Judge, in New York. And by the time Judge retires, Soto's going to be mid-30s. He's not going to be, a great superstar player by that point. He's going to be aging out. So, I just don't know that he wants to stay with the Yankees. regardless of the price. I think he's going to want to be the guy. That's at least how I feel today. You ask me tomorrow, I might feel a little bit different, but it's starting to get frustrating. I agree with the people who are a little bit tired of the whole ordeal. I do think that it might get done quicker than some of the other deals that we've seen for Boras clients in recent years, like, January, February, even March sometimes. Because if you're committing that much money, you want to do it at a point where you can still build around him, right? So teams, if they don't secure Juan Soto, are going to start going out and getting other players, starting to plug some of these holes. So, it's anybody's guess what happens or when he signs, but I think it's going to happen during the winter meeting. So fingers crossed that this is a BS report. The source might not be super reliable, but, stranger things have happened. But let's talk a little bit about what other moves the Yankees can make, because obviously we'd love for the Yankees to have Juan Soto, but if you get him, it can't be the only move. You got to build around him. And if you don't get him, you've got a lot more money to spend on a lot of different pieces. So I've put together kind of a list of people who could be available. We got, for people who are listening, a list of free agents and a list of trade candidates. I'll just run through the free agents: Willy Adames, Pete Alonso, Alex Bregman, Corbin Burns, Jack Flaherty, Max Fried, Teoscar Hernandez, Jeff Hoffman, Yusei Kikuchi, Tanner Scott, Roki Sasaki, Anthony Santander, Blake Snell, Juan Soto, Tyler O'Neill, and Christian Walker. Those are the free agents. And other trade candidates that we've heard pop up: Alec Boehm of the Phillies, third baseman. Brendan Donovan can play second, can play some left. He is with the Cardinals. Cardinals might be open to moving a couple of players. Ryan Helsey is on that list. Garrett Crochet is available from the White Sox. Devin Williams from the Brewers served up that big home run to Pete Alonso in the playoffs, but still a very good closer. Brandon Lau, if the Rays are cutting back, they might be willing to deal Lau, who always rakes in Yankee Stadium, left-handed hitter, but I doubt that the Rays would trade him within the division. There's going to be a lot of people who want Brandon Lau. Jordan Montgomery, we talked about him last podcast, a left-handed pitcher. Obviously, we're very familiar with him. Ryan McMahon, third baseman with the Rockies. The Rockies might not trade him, but if they decide to, he could be a decent fit. And Luis Robert Jr., outfielder with the White Sox. So, Frankie, I got to say that the availability of Brendan Donovan and Ryan Helsley, it gives me some interest. It's piqued my interest a little bit that the Cardinals could move a couple of guys. I'm a big fan of Tanner Scott of the Padres from last year. Big left-handed pitcher. Jeff Hoffman, good pitcher with the Phillies, relief pitcher. Jack Flaherty, guy the Yankees almost picked up at the deadline. We obviously saw what he did in Game 1 of the World Series. Bregman, I don't think Cashman will sign, but he would be a nice fit at third base. That would allow you to move Jazz Chisholm back to second. So who is on your wish list of these players here? And if there's somebody else that I didn't mention, feel free to chime in.
Well, looking at this right now, the idea, obviously, for discounting Soto, who we all want, the idea of if Soto goes to the Mets, us getting Alonso would be not bad. It would be a nice little, I guess, revenge in that side. I've always liked Pete. Bregman, I don't think he's going to get signed, but getting an Astro, same thing. Looking at, there's no chance that we're going to get Sasaki, I don't think, even though it'd be nice to have him there, get a lot of buzz. Flaherty's very intriguing option. I do like him. And, as you said, we saw him in the World Series. I'm looking at more at the biggest issues right now are what are we going to do at first base? So, you have Alonso, you have Walker. See what else we can do at the infield. So you have Adams, you have Bregman there. Brendan Lau, yes, he just always kills us. So that would be a nice addition there for the Yankees. And also just try to get more guys towards the bottom half of the lineup, because if you watch, watching the World Series, it was clear there was a huge talent gap between the bottom half of the Yankees lineup and the bottom half of the Dodgers lineup. So I feel like we could just add a couple more guys there. It'd be nice, but I also don't know who else we could get on that. And also, the bullpen we could use. We were like one or two guys short, but I feel like Cashman will have those options there. No polar bear. We're seeing some people not.
Yeah, I don't think that Pete Alonso is a great fit. I mean, he's a right-handed slugging guy, doesn't hit for a lot of average. He's an okay first baseman. I would rather them go out and get kind of a sweet swinging left-handed hitting first baseman, somebody like Nathan Lau with the Rangers. I've always liked him. I think Ben Rice, honestly, is a rookie, but I think he'll do much better second time around. Like, if you wanted to fill the infield, like with a Brendan Donovan, or go out and get a third baseman like a Bregman, and you need to go cheap in an area, I would not be opposed to running a rookie out there at first base, because I think Ben Rice will get a lot better. He hit in the minor leagues. He's got a good swing. He's got a couple of holes in his swing, but I think those holes can be patched, right? So it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. But I'm with Cat Mama here. I don't want Pete Alonso for first base. I don't want to spend on another unathletic, big, lumbering home run hitter who strikes out.
Only if the Mets take Soto. Then that's the only reason, just to get revenge on them. But I did have one question for you. Let's say we get Soto, or Soto's gone. Team is what it is now. Where do the Yankees finish next year?
Not good.
No.
They got to fill a lot of holes. Eddie Snaps says, any chance Bellinger, if the Cubs do put him on the trade market? I don't think that they will. But if they do put him out there, I wouldn't mind going after him for first base. He's a, good left-handed hitter. He hits for contact. I think he'll hit for power at Yankee Stadium. I don't know. I think the Cubs want to contend, though, right? I mean, they just hired Craig Counsell. I think they're going to be aggressively adding as opposed. I could see the Cubs being one of the most aggressive teams in free agency this year because they need to add, right? They're a market that's grown accustomed to being in contention, and last year they just weren't very good. So anyway, we got a comment here. Judge is a joke. Judge is going to win the MVP next week. He's never going to live down the bad World Series, but he was. I think if it went 7, like Game 6 and 7, he would have been crushing it because he was just starting to turn it back on in Game 5. He closed up his stance like he did after the beginning of the year, after he had that slow start, and then he made the adjustment and turned it around. So he's never going to live down that World Series, though. What are your thoughts on Judge?
I agree. I have such conflicted thoughts on Judge right now because next year we're gonna watch him win the MVP this year. We're gonna see him hopefully hit 40, 50 home runs next year, and all me and most Yankee fans are gonna be thinking is do it in October. It's unfortunate that he has now become the Lamar Jackson maybe of baseball, which is again it's unfortunate, and maybe we're being too harsh on him. But that, as a Yankee, I mentioned this on my show. All of the Yankees who have retired numbers, with the exception of Don Mattingly, won us World Series, and Don Mattingly in the one postseason that he was in raked for us. So all those guys, even somebody like Bernie Williams, who's not a Hall of Famer, he contributed in the postseason. All these guys, Ron Guidry, all these guys were huge in postseason for us. And Judge, unfortunately, he's had moments, but the most recent moment is not one that most Yankee fans are going to look fondly on. And also, you pointed out the how if we had gotten to 7, that's why the most annoying thing that came out of the post World Series coverage was Dave Roberts saying that if we didn't want to go back to LA, we were worried about, we wanted to finish in New York. We didn't want to go back to LA. And that's what annoyed me the most. Like, if we had just gotten to Game 6, we could have pressured them. We were that close to putting pressure on them. And that's the thing that I'll just never be able to get over.
Yeah. And Judge, here's the thing that sucks about what happened with Judge. It's going to taint all of next season, because even if he has a 70 home run season, even if he opens up the year on fire and hits 15 home runs in April, like, A-Rod, everybody's going to be saying all year long, but he sucks in the playoffs. He can't hit in the playoffs. And that's not entirely true. He had some big hits. He had the home run off of Class A. He had a home run in the World Series. He just happened to slump at the wrong time. And it's unfortunate because the conversation isn't going to go away. And I don't blame people who are pissed off. I'm a little bit pissed off still. And I'm going to be doing these post games all year. And I know that he's going to have nights where he hits 2 home runs. He drives in 7 runs. And all the comments from the Doomers are going to be, well, too bad he doesn't hit in the playoffs, right? That's all we're going to see. And it's frustrating because we can see it coming, right? You can just smell that shit coming. And, I mean, it's nobody's fault but Judge. I mean, and there's no really way to defend it other than say, I don't want to say make excuses, but say, well, he did have a couple. I mean, there's that caveat. He did have a couple of big hits. The home run off of Class A. He had a big home run in Game 2 of the ALCS against the Guardians. And then he had a home run in Game 5 against Jack Flaherty. But he also struck out at an astronomical rate. So he brought it on himself. You just got to do it in the playoffs for people to drop that caveat. Let's talk a little bit about what's coming up for us tomorrow. Whoops, I hit the wrong button over there. Let's see. I hit the wrong button. There we go. John Sterling will be on Foul Territory tomorrow, live from his apartment. Our executive producer, Mark Wiener, is traveling to John Sterling's apartment because he doesn't really know how to operate technology. I don't even know if he has a computer. He has a flip phone, he doesn't have, Susan Waldman was saying that she can text him, but then she has to call to get a response. So just want to give everybody a heads up. What questions would you ask John Sterling, Frankie?
Man, throughout his entire career. Maybe I would ask for, this isn't a Yankee thing, but maybe I'd ask for stories about the Rick Kemp game, which was this, you've done a story on that on the channel about the great Braves-Mets game that he did that went 18, 19 innings. It was on the 4th of July in the 1980s. And he was on the play-by-play for that game. Rick Kemp, yes. So, and that was the only home run he hit in his career. So I'd ask for stories about that. Also, what do we think about, I'd probably ask him questions about Dave Sims. What do you think about that hiring? I am so excited about that. I think he's one of my favorite announcers in baseball. I think that's a great move, and Yankee fans are going to fall in love with him very quickly.
Yeah, he's actually one of my favorite announcers to listen to from other teams. I like to listen to his calls of, if a Yankee hits a home run in Seattle, Judge hit one, way up in the upper deck a couple years ago. I went and listened to the Seattle broadcast. That type of stuff. He's great. He's fantastic. We've heard him call some walk-offs. He's phenomenal, and he's going to be on the show the week of the 25th. He's going to be joining Pinstripe Territory, so we'll get to talk with him.
Nice.
Let's go ahead and take some comments, some questions from the audience here. Erik C. says that Soto is most likely to go to the highest bidder unless the Yankees is above that offer. Soto is considered gone. Well, by definition, that would make the Yankees the highest bidder, right? So you didn't need that second part. Soto is most likely to go to the highest bidder, and I 100% agree. You don't hire Scott Boras unless you're driven by money, right? And even if you don't have Scott Boras, Judge almost signed with the Giants, right? And he had a higher offer from San Diego. I think it's all about money with Juan. I really do. Just from everything that he's said, the way he's carried himself since the season ended, that press conference that he gave after the World Series, the way he sat there staring at the field at Yankee Stadium, just kind of looking like, oh, this is probably my last game as a Yankee, taking it all in. I think he's going to the highest bidder, man. I think he's going to the highest bidder.
Yeah, I have to agree. And as you mentioned with Boras, I hope, unlike other Boras clients, you mentioned this, let's just all pray this does not wrap up in February or March. Because even if he does sign in February, even if we do sign him in February or March, all right, then we're going to get a Soto that hasn't had all of spring training. So whatever this is, let's have it be like Ohtani last year. Let's get this over with by the winter meetings.
Lou says maybe Judge should defer some money to sign Juan Soto. I can't see him doing that, but it would be interesting to see if Juan Soto is willing to defer some of his money because, Shohei Ohtani's the greatest baseball player on earth. The guy is an ace on the mound when he pitches. He's one of the best hitters in the game. He stole 50-some-odd base. He went 50-50 this year. He's amazing. And he's playing for $2 million per season with $68 million per year deferred far into the future. Because he wants to be on a winner, right? He values winning more than anything else. He called the Dodgers the gold standard of Major League Baseball in terms of organizations, right? And the way they prep, the way they scout. And he was right on the money, and they won a World Series, even though he didn't even do that much. And he was playing with a torn labrum. But the fact that he was willing to defer so much money, and part of that is because he makes so much money elsewhere. But the fact that he was willing to defer money to help the team win, that says a lot about Shohei Ohtani, man.
Yeah, I was thinking, is that even a lot? I don't know how you would do that. I guess you can reconstruct a deal. So I wonder how if Judge would be willing to defer any sort of. That would be pretty. Yankee fans. Yankee fans would turn around on Judge. Those who are not so sure about Judge, that'd be the way to get him right back is by saying, all right, I will give some of my money up for this year, put it to the side if we can get Soto. That would be a true captain move. I don't blame him if he doesn't do that, but that would be certainly something that would Yankee fans would love. And I also wonder how much money they're going to make off this. It probably won't happen this year, but I'm wondering how much money they're going to be able to make off the fact that the Rays are going to play their games next year in George Steinbrenner Field. How much money the Yankees are going to be able to make off that.
Yeah. Yankees are going to make $15 million a year off of that, and I hope it goes directly into the Soto fund or back into the team. Amber Yorick says, remember that Ohtani's getting $65 million plus in endorsements, and that's, he's got multiple endorsements from other countries. I think he probably made way more than that. I think he probably made $100 million in endorsements. There's some article or list that comes out every year. I think it's in Forbes that talks about the highest paid athletes, and it used to be like Floyd Mayweather every year. I think it's definitely going to be Ohtani for the next several years. We'll see. But that includes, on-field money and off-field money. Tiger Woods was on there a lot, Jordan, all that stuff. But it'll be interesting to see how
Tyson was number one at one point.
Yeah. Dude, should we even talk about the Tyson-Paul fight? That was such a joke, man. It was hard to watch. Tyson was moving like Robert De Niro in The Irishman. Did you ever see that where he's like trying to beat this guy up and he can barely move. That's what Tyson looked like. He was stiff as hell. And Jake Paul, he handed him an ass whooping. It was sad. It was honestly very sad to watch. It made me feel like, I don't know, it just made me think about death and aging a lot.
Made you think death's coming around the corner for all of us.
Yeah.
I did not watch. I watched the highlights afterwards because I knew, having seen one of these fights before, I can't remember what it was, that these influencer fights are a joke, that it's somebody who's either an MMA star or a washed-up boxer going against this guy who's not a real boxer, and they go at it for 6-7 rounds and no one gets hurt, and it's just whatever. So I watched the highlights afterwards, and I thought I don't know how you felt. I thought he won the first round, and I actually thought he got a couple good punches in, and then second round on, it was just like, it was clear that he had nothing left. And that was just, I would say it's an embarrassment for boxing, but boxing's been kind of embarrassing for like 20, 30 years now. The sport is just has been constantly with all these controversies and organizations and all this mess, that this was just the culmination of all that. So, I hope it was a great night for Netflix, because it wasn't a good night for anyone else.
Frankie, we got to get you a wired connection because we're looking at blurry Frankie right now. But it was a tough night for sports in general, for Netflix. It was buffering all evening. I had some guys over and we were watching it, and it was a tough night. It's been a tough year for sports for me, man. I really was looking forward to that fight. Obviously, the World Series loss. Dolphins lost Tua within the first couple of games, and my hopes for seeing the Dolphins make the playoffs kind of faded. But all right, well, Frankie, we appreciate you stopping by. We're gonna give a quick ad to StoryWorth from the guys over at Foul Territory. Then I'll be back to take your voicemails. Frankie, we'll catch you tomorrow.
This holiday season, I want to give a gift to my loved ones that makes them feel special and unique. That gift is StoryWorth.
Here's how it works. Each week, StoryWorth emails your loved one a thought-provoking question that you get to help pick. Things like, what's the bravest thing you've ever done? And what's the farthest you've ever traveled? All your loved one needs to do is respond with a story. Long or short, it doesn't matter. After that year of fun, StoryWorth compiles those stories and photos into a beautiful keepsake hardcover book that you'll be able to share and revisit for generations to come. This is the perfect book to pass along at family gatherings or read with your kids. It is beautifully orchestrated by StoryWorth, and that's why it has more than 35,000 five-star reviews on Trustpilot, with millions of stories preserved since they were founded over 10 years ago.
With StoryWorth, I'm giving those I love most a thoughtful, personal gift from the heart and preserving their memories and stories for years to come. Go to storyworth.com/foul and save $10 on your first purchase. That's storyworth.com/foul to save $10 on your first purchase.
All right, let's back with your voicemails. Let's go ahead and start with this voicemail saying, do not sign Juan Soto.
Do not sign Juan Soto. Do not sign Juan Soto. I can't say it enough. Don't sign Juan Soto. Let me tell you why. I'm going to rationalize this for you beautifully. You are going to handcuff yourself as an organization when you do that for the future. Then we're going to be on another podcast talking about why did we do that? Now he's either injured on the injured list or something or other, and now we're having to depend on whoever's left on the roster, and now you got people that are a year older, 2 years older, and they're not producing the way you're expecting them to. And on top of that, when you're paying another guy of his age this amount of money, okay, which is way more than Aaron Judge, listen to what's going to happen. You're going to be in the clubhouse, and it's going to be toxic because he's going to get to the younger guys, and what's going to happen? He's going to end up, hey, man, who you going to listen to? Huh? You going to listen to John or you going to listen to me? They picked Soto because Soto's the best, okay? That's why they picked Soto. They're not going to, don't listen to Judge anymore. Judge is getting old. He's an up guy already. You go with the Soto, okay? I'm the Juan Soto. They pick me. They pay me all the money because I'm the Soto, okay?
Yeah, look, listen. The Yankees' best chance to get back to the World Series next year is to have Juan Soto on the team and to add a couple of reinforcements, right? At least one infielder, whether it's a third baseman or a second baseman or a first baseman possibly. Maybe add a couple of lights-out bullpen arms. Ryan Helsley if the Cardinals decide to trade him. Tanner Scott's a free agent. That's the Yankees' best scenario. You worry about all that contract stuff later. And the Yankees are no stranger to having enormous contracts that are stuck with them for a long time. We were dealing with that forever with A-Rod. We're in the midst of it right now with Stanton, although if he keeps hitting the playoffs, nobody's going to say a peep about that contract. I take that back. People will say a peep about that contract because they'll forget what he did for us in the playoffs, but to me, the Stanton contract is worth it because of the way he's performed in the postseason. He's won multiple postseason series for us. He was one of the only guys that truly rose to the occasion this postseason. But yeah, with Soto, your hope is that you make money off. I mean, this is a business, right? So you want to sell Soto hats and Soto jerseys and so forth. The Yes Network doesn't make the kind of money that it used to make. The Yankees have got to find other revenue streams. And in New York, you have to have stars. That's something that George Steinbrenner always believes, something that Hal Steinbrenner clearly believes. The question is, can they and will they outbid the Mets? Because as we've reiterated, it's going to come down to the highest bidder.
Hey, Derek. It's Bob from Ohio. Of course, everybody's talking about the Juan Soto signing, hopefully coming up. I'm going to give us about a 20 to 25% chance of signing him. Probably, I think Hal will make one offer and that'll be it. So I'm thinking about a plan B. I was wondering what you thought, what your plan B would be, but I was thinking maybe Christian Walker at first and Teoscar Hernandez to play in the outfield. And I think that would be a decent start. So just wanted to see what you think. Great content. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Appreciate the call. My plan B, if Soto signs elsewhere, is to move Judge back to right field, to put Jason Dominguez in center, and to go out and get a left fielder. I don't know who it will be. Teoscar Hernandez is a good hitter, but he is not a good outfielder. And I'm tired of Judge playing out of position. Judge is a Gold Glove caliber right fielder. So if Soto goes elsewhere, you got to move Judge back to right, where his arm plays up, where he robs 4 or 5 home runs a year. And then you move Dominguez to center where he's more comfortable. You go out and get a left fielder. I don't know who that's going to be. But, I mean, Brendan Donovan can play left field. He is listed on Baseball Savant as a left fielder. I know he's played a lot of second base, but, this is a guy who he's above average in batting run value, in base running value, in fielding run value. Look at his spray chart. He hits the ball all over the place. So, good, at avoiding strikeouts, good on-base percentage guy. Decent pop, 14 home runs. I think that'll go up in Yankee Stadium, only 27 years old. He would be my pick for left field. And then you go out and get a infielder, whether it's a second baseman or a first baseman. Christian Walker for first base is okay, but he's aging. He's only about a 250 hitter. Honestly, I'd rather go with the kid, Ben Rice, at first, which means you're getting either a second baseman or a third baseman. I'm not opposed to signing Bregman, especially if you have Soto money lying around that is unspent. if he'll take a 5-year deal. I don't want to pay him until he's 37, Or you could try and swing a deal for Brandon Lau. I don't think it'll happen, but if they're willing to make it work, Brandon Lau, I'm sorry, then I think you approach the Rays with that. We'll see.
Okay, let's hit the field. This is Terry in Ohio. You made a comment on one of your podcasts, which I totally agree. The Yankees don't show their prospects any respect, and I'm behind you 100% on that. And like I said before, I'm a Cabby man, and Cabby gets no love at all whatsoever. I don't know why they can't put him at third base and pick up a first baseman, or put Cabby at first and pick up a third baseman. But I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, I felt that way about the prospects way back when Steve Bye-Bye Balboni was a prospect for the Yankees. And
I appreciate it. I remember Bye-Bye Balboni. I remember. That was a long time ago. That's a great reference. I don't think that the Yankees are super high on Cabrera as an everyday player. And I'm going to pull up his StatCast numbers and show you why. But he is a guy that they value as a utility player. And here's why. His fielding value is above average, right? And he's a solid base runner. He's league average as a base runner. He's below a league average hitter. And if you look at all the metrics, I'm going to just zoom in here so that you can see. His metrics are not good. xWOBA, well below average. Expected slugging, well below average. Hard hit percentage, below average. His bat speed is slow. I like this new bat speed metric that they've added to Baseball Savant because, bat speed is the most critical thing, I think, for power. And he just doesn't have enough bat speed. So that might be what the Yankees are looking at. His walk percentage is not good. But he's a good utility guy because he's a quality defender at multiple areas. So, we'll see how it shakes out. Anyway, Yankees meet with Juan Soto tomorrow. I'm sure we'll have news out of that meeting. He also had a 3-hour meeting with the Red Sox. He met already with the Blue Jays, and they're apparently very serious. So I guess we'll find out over the next several weeks. The winter meetings are in early December, and you can subscribe, and we'll cover everything. And that way you won't miss any of it. So like and subscribe. Call into the voicemail. We're going to do another show Friday and then another show the following Sunday. Fridays and Sundays all year long, all winter long. And then back with post-game shows. By the way, I'll take a look real quick. Just a little preview.
Let's get it going.
Of next year. So I've been working on some behind-the-scenes stuff and just a quick look. So we got a new team matchup screen, and we've got a bunch of new stuff. Coming next year. So tune in, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Ball game over.
If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and give us a subscribe. It helps other Yankees fans find the channel. We're also on all your favorite podcast platforms and social media. Join the community, have some fun. We're here after every game. This is Pinstripe Territory.